Well, good morning and welcome to our kitchen today here in Bromley Common as we continue our Lent reflections. I expect you're all familiar with this cry of dereliction from the back of the car or train or whatever transport we have with, "Are we there yet? When will we arrive?" If we've gone on holiday with children, we know that cry. We are anxious to arrive at our destination as soon as possible. And that's why when we have a traffic jam, we get so pent up and frustrated because we can't get where we want to quickly enough. On Saturday, Richard talked about how the Hebrews had burnt their bridges by crossing the Red Sea. They couldn't go back. And yesterday, Richard talked about the temptation of Jesus and how it linked back to the Hebrews wandering in the wilderness. Jesus was 40 days in the wilderness and the Hebrews were 40 years in the wilderness. They had had opportunity to enter the promised land, but because of their disobedience, their lack of trust, they had to wait. They had to wait until the time was right. Years later, they were in exile. They had been deported to Babylon, and it was going to be 70 years. 70 years of lockdown before they could return back to their own country. And we can empathize with their cries, "How long, O Lord?" One of the gifts of the Spirit is patience, the ability to wait, to be ready. And waiting appears so often in the Bible. One of our favourite verses is in Isaiah, "Those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength. They will rise up like eagles." As we wait, though, we're not to be idle. Years ago, while we were on holiday, we were reminded by our hosts that waiting involves service. We don't just sit there and wait, but we serve. Hence, we have the term waiter, one who serves, waits upon. Waiting means being ready, serving and being patient. And as we wait for this lockdown to end and the end of all these COVID restrictions that are so necessary, we need patience. God is at work. Who would have thought this time last year, when the news of the COVID virus was sort of something that was remote in other parts of the world, that by this time, a quarter of our population would have received a vaccination against COVID? That is incredible. It is a miracle. God is at work. Waiting also means watching. The government are watching the R number as they plan the country's future. We have to wait and watch. Jesus talked about being observant, watching the signs of the times. We have to watch. This week, staff at Cambridge University Botanical Gardens were waiting and watching for a cactus to flower, the moon cactus. It flowers rarely and at night. So they set up cameras and watched for what must have seemed an age. But it was worth it. The flower, as you can see from our picture, is beautiful. Over the last few weeks, Richard has been reading the Narnia Chronicles by C.S. Lewis, and the children ask when Aslan, the great lion, will return. And he replies, soon. But then he also says, I call all times soon. It reminds me of the Welsh phrase, I'll do it now. Now, I'll do it now can mean I'll do it now in a minute, or I'll do it now next year. But it means that you are not forgotten, that it's there, it will be done. It will be done now, whenever now happens to be. At the end of the Bible in Revelation, Jesus says he is coming soon. He is coming now. We can only wait and be patient, be ready, be serving and living in obedience to him who walks with us in the wilderness. When the Israelites wandered around the wilderness for 40 years, they were not abandoned. They were fed, they were cared for, they were watered. None of their shoes even wore out. God walks with us in our wilderness. So be blessed as we continue to wait, and we will continue our story of journeys tomorrow. Blessings. Bye.